Good
Good evening, folks. Tonight we're doing lesson 73, 7.3. I will there be light. It's 11 paragraphs long. We'll do 2 paragraphs at a time, and we'll do our best to finish in an hour. And here we go. I'll read the first 2 paragraphs. I will there be light. Paragraph 1. Today we are considering the will you share with God. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which darkness and nothingness arises. The will you share with God has all the power of creation in it. The ego's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all. Its wishes are not idle in the sense that they can make a world of illusions in which your beliefs can be very strong. But they are idle indeed in terms of creation. They make nothing that is real. Paragraph 2. Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world you see. The wishes of the ego gave rise to it, and the ego's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it, peoples it with figures that seem to attack you and call for righteous judgment. These figures become the middleman the ego employs to traffic in grievances. They stand between your awareness and your brother's reality. Beholding them, you do not know your brothers or yourself. Any comments or questions? All right, paragraph 1, sentence 1. Today we're considering the will you share with God. Okay, so just keep it in mind. Your highest will and God's will are one. Okay? Let's see. Paragraph 1, sentence 2. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which darkness and nothingness arise. Okay, so if you're feeling like you're in darkness, or if you're feeling a lack of fulfillment, that's a sign that you're following the ego's wishes. Okay? The ego's will, so to speak. Let's see. Paragraph 1, sentence 4. The ego's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power. Okay, so whatever the ego tries to sell you, it has no power. It's never going to bring you true joy or true peace. Paragraph 1, sentence 6. But they are idle indeed in terms of creation. They make nothing that is real. Okay, so the ego, whatever, if you follow the ego's path, you're never going to have any true and lasting peace of mind or joy or meaning. Comments or questions on paragraph 1?
Yeah, it's that thing about the difference between what you want and what you really want.
Yes, remembering that the ego always has its first and loudest, right? So what you want is always what the ego usually answers. Then you got to stop for a second and ask yourself, what do you really want? All right. Paragraph 2, sentence 1. Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world you see. Okay, so when you view the world through the ego's lens, you see the judgment-centric world, judgment-centric fear-based world. Hi, Yvonne. It's lesson 73, 7.3.
7-3. Hi, thank you.
Um, Paragraph 2, sentence 2. The wishes of the ego gave rise to it, and the ego's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it. Okay, so your judgments maintain the ego's mindset and world. So your grievances, aka your judgments of the world, maintain the ego's world. Um, Paragraph 2, sentence 3. These figures become the middleman that the ego employs to traffic in grievances. Call for righteous judgment. They stand between your awareness and your brother's reality. Okay, so your brother's reality can only ever be seen through God's lens, through love's lens. If you see your brother as anything other than God's perfect creation, you're using the ego's guidance, the ego's lens, the lens of grievances and condemnation and judgment and fear. Any comments or questions on paragraph 1 and 2?
Yeah, if you look at line number 7 in the first one, they make nothing that it's real is because it's all dividing, it's all separating. There's nothing about joining or about feeling uh, a sense of community or love with others. It's all about me, me, me. And me needs grievances and needs wars and it needs hate in order to survive.
Yes, and the ego uses separation. Why? Because if person X is out here and you're here, I can judge person X, I can condemn them, and the ego says that doesn't affect me because we're two different bodies according to the ego. But in reality, we're all one, right? So whatever I do to a brother has to first flow through me. Whatever I think of a brother, I first have to think it in here or in here. If I think of them lovingly, I heal this, my heart and mind. If I think of them unlovingly, I punish my heart and my mind. Any other comments or questions on 1 and 2? All right. Would somebody like to read 3 and 4?
I will.
Thank you.
Your will is lost to you in this strange bartering in which guilt is traded back and forth, and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been created by the will the Son of God shares with his Father? Did God create disaster for his Son? Creation is the will of both together. Would God create a world that kills himself? Today, we will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. It is not heaven, but the light heaven shines on it. Darkness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the light that shines upon this world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that we will look for it.
Thank you. And it's lesson 73, Luna, 7-3. Okay, any comments or questions on paragraph 3 and 4? Paragraph 3, sentence 1. Your will is lost to you in the strange bartering in which guilt is traded back and forth and grievances increase with each exchange. Okay, so just keep in mind in this lesson, there's two wills. There's God's will and there's the ego's will. One is real, God's will. One is not real, the ego's will. Your highest will and God's will are one, okay? That's your true will. Your highest will is and God's will are one. God's will for you is your highest will for yourself. And then there's the ego's world, the ego's will, which is not your true will, which, like Mike said before, sometimes respond with what you think you want. That's not what you want. There's what you want and what you really want. The ego has programmed you to believe that you want the ego's will. So that's what you think you want. But what you really want is God's will, which is your highest will. Okay. Paragraph 3, sentence 4. Creation is the will of both together. Creation is the will of both together. Again, that's the idea that your highest will and God's will are one. And obviously, God's will for you is to be the light of the world. You're kind of like God's representative on earth, so to speak. God is love. God is light, right? Another word for light is wisdom. So you're here to offer your brothers and sisters a path to understanding who they truly are, the light inside of them, the truth inside of them. And that's the will that you share with God. Paragraph 4, sentence 1. Today we will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. Again, that's God's will. So today in this lesson, we're trying to reach God's will, which is your highest will. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. Okay, so the light is a reflection of the will of God, aka love is a reflection of the will of God. Paragraph 4, sentence 3, it is not heaven, but the light of heaven shines on it. Okay, so to see the light of the world, you have to reflect it out there. You reflect out there whatever's inside of you. If you're not seeing the world through love's lens, then you're not holding that love inside of you. If you're seeing your brothers and sisters in the world through judgment, anger, fear, anxiousness, doubt, shame, guilt, then you're seeing the world as the ego has trained you to see it. But that's not the world you want. And it's not the world that's truly there. God created a perfect world for you to grow, heal, and awaken. But if you don't attach your will to God's, then you will not see it. You will see a poisonous world, hell on earth, so to speak. The choice is yours, free will. Any comments or questions? Paragraph 3 and 4. Paragraph 4, sentence 6. If the light that shines upon this world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that we will look for it. Okay, so that's basically what I just said, is that the light that shines upon the world, how you see the world, is a reflection of your own internal light. Is your light inside of you full, or is it partially dimmed? If your light is full, if what you have within you is only what God has gifted you, and you support nothing else as real or true, then you will see that light shining upon everybody and all. If you dim your light through your past programming, then you will see a dimmed world, a world where judgment is possible, where condemnation and hate and resentment is possible. A world where you sacrifice your time, focus, and energy to the delusion, which appears to make the delusion appear a little more real. Any comments or questions on paragraph 3 and 4? Remember, the external world simply represents your internal condition and conditioning. So if you're focused on a world of chaos, it's because you're chaotic inside of you. You have chaos inside of you. If you bless everybody with kindness and peace, it's because peace is inside of you. Now, peace is always inside of you, but many a times it's covered by your programming, by the ego's programming. So the idea is to try to lift the veils of the ego. See, they're not useful to help you achieve peace of mind and joy. And so if those are not useful to you, then you stop supporting them with your time, focus, and energy. And the less you support the ego inside of you as true, its beliefs and tools as true, the less they will dirty the window that you see this world through. Comments or questions, 3 and 4? Yes, the more you choose the light within, the less you will experience the so-called darkness of the world. If no further questions on 3 and 4, would somebody like to read 5 and 6?
I'll read.
Thank you.
Your picture of the world can only mirror what is within. The source of neither light nor darkness can be found without. Grievances darken your mind, and you look out on a darkened world. Forgiveness lifts the darkness, reasserts your will, and lets you look upon a world of light. We have repeatedly emphasized that the barrier of grievances is easily passed and cannot stand between you and your salvation. The reason is very simple. Do you really want to be in hell? Do you really want to weep and suffer and die? Forget the ego's arguments which seek to prove all this is really heaven. You know it is not so. You cannot want this for yourself. There is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness, and it is happiness you really want. Such is your will in truth. And so salvation is your will as well. You want to succeed in what we are trying to do today. We undertake it with your blessing and your glad accord.
Thank you. Comments or questions on 5 and 6? Paragraph 5, sentence 1 is what we just talked about. Your picture of the world can only mirror what is within. Okay? So whatever you have within you is projected onto the world. Okay? So how you entertain this world is really a reflection of what beliefs you're holding inside of yourself. Do you hold the belief that your brothers and sisters are worthy of forgiveness? Then you forgive the illusion and you experience peace. Or, as we say here in paragraph 5, sentence 3, grievances darken your mind and you look out on a darkened world. Okay? So if you see the world as darkened, it's not because it is dark. It's because you're perceiving it as dark. Okay? And so your beliefs about the world is what colors the world. Let's say, okay, obviously this terrible war, right, in Iran. Whatever it is that created that war was a outer reflection of what was inside of the people that are interacting in that war. And so that's what they had within them. That's what it produced in the outer world, right? And so the idea is not so much to try to save the outer world. The idea is to change your inner world so that what is reflected out there begins to be a reflection of that peace within you. If we all had peace within us, there would be no war. If we all chose peace instead of anger or resentment or hate, there wouldn't be war. And so don't punish the world for the wars. Just you gotta forgive your brothers and sisters. You gotta pray that they find some sort of self-reflection and that they develop a peaceful nature, and the peaceful people are elected to run countries, and therefore you will have a peaceful world.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I have a friend who is very into geopolitics and everything that's happening and really focuses a lot on the evilness of what's happening. And I mean, I believe that it doesn't benefit him. However, I'm not sure there's much I can say or do around that. And I guess my question is there a way to, well, I know there's a way to supposed to be at peace with it, which would be, forgiving it and or sending them light and but that seems a very difficult task for this individual. Um, so is there a way to be um disturbed by it but still be okay? Like, I mean, to still be the light of the world? I guess I think I know the answer to that, but
Sure, let's check out these two sentences. Grievance, sentence paragraph 5, sentence 3, and sentence 4. Grievances darken your mind, and you look out on a darkened world. Forgiveness lifts the darkness, reasserts your will, which is one with the will of God, and lets you look upon a world of light. Okay, so in that situation with your friend, your one and primary purpose is to be a light when you're with them. And so how you are a light when you're with them? You're focused on peace. You're focused on joy. You're focused on forgiveness. You're focused on mercy. You're focused on grace. And then that focus brightens your light, makes you more peaceful, makes you more joyful, right? So you become an example of peace and joy. And guess what? Your brother doesn't really want to be focused on the geopolitical stuff. What he really wants is peace and joy. And so little by little, when he sees your example, how peaceful you are, how joyful you are, there's going to be something in him that's going to say, man, I kind of want that. So that's how you help guide your brother or sister to the light inside of them. Now they have their own path, right? Right now he's choosing to focus on the chaos, and therefore it's an expression that he's chaotic inside of himself. And so what he's really asking you for is to help lead him to peace. Yes, Wendy.
Okay. Well, my question is more of a my experience is in disagreement with what you're saying, because I see, and I'm sure it's just me. Like my head and my body often don't match, so this is not a shock to me. But I see all this beauty in the world. My beautiful students, my family, how kind everybody was to me for my birthday, but internally I find, I'm not going to call it chaos, that's a little much, but disruption. Let's say disruption. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a match between internal and external. External is beautiful. And I feel really great when I'm in that external environment and co-regulating with all these beautiful people that I know. But when I'm with myself trying to deal with my own shit, sorry, I know you hate profanity, my own garbage, that is a whole different arena. Not much beautiful staring back at me most of the time.
Yeah, so you have different beliefs within you. Some are been programmed, and that's what creates the chaos. And some you have healed, and that's what you're able to see and work through with your students, etc. And so, just because you're not perfectly at peace all the time doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It's just that you're learning to let go of certain programs, and you're learning to have little by little, you're learning to have a little more peace. And so, little by little, as you spend more and more time uh, self-reflecting and by yourself, you'll be able to uh, the example of your students and the example of those times when you have peace. Once you're able to look through that while you're alone, you start to remind yourself that, you know what, I can indeed choose peace instead of a certain chaos that comes to my mind. And so little by little, you start to shift, going from the chaos to peace. And your students are just an example that you can indeed do that. So if there are places in your life where you can have peace, then there's places in your life where you're trusting in God fully. If there's places in your life where you're feeling chaotic or anxious or worried or doubtful, it's just a symbol and a sign that you're not trusting God fully in those moments. And so all you have to do is experience the chaos enough times to decide there must be a better way. You cannot trust God fully and also be anxious. You cannot trust God fully and also be worried. And so you have the choice in the moment, and sometimes you feel like you don't have a choice. That's fine, But little by little, those little wins are going to show you that you indeed have a choice. So it's just about little by little, day by day, experiencing more little wins. When the egos try to making your mind chaotic, you immediately practice, recognize, okay, the ego's trying to take control of my thoughts right now. The ego's trying to take control because I'm in chaos and I'm worried and I'm anxious and I'm fearful and I'm feeling guilt or shame or whatever. I will stop that right now because I will no longer sacrifice my time, my focus, and energy to it. And little by little, those times of chaos will decrease. And it's just a mathematical equation. Little by little, as those chaotic times decrease, your peaceful times increases. And sooner or later, you'll get to that balancing point where you'll have more peace instead of pain. So have grace for yourself, have grace for your journey. Little by little, you're getting there.
Thank you, James.
Keep practicing.
When was
Yeah.
your birthday?
Monday.
Happy belated birthday, you're a Pisces.
Yes, I am. Water sign.
I love
Happy
Pisces.
birthday.
Happy
Thank you,
birthday.
guys. I appreciate it.
Both of my kids are Pisces.
They're the best.
I would agree with that. Besides, my sign, but we won't even get into that.
All right. Let's see what else. Paragraph 5, sentence 7. Do you really want to be in hell? Not really. Do you really want to weep and suffer and die? Okay, so anytime you're allowing the ego to take control over your thoughts, right? Where is that going to lead you to? Hell, weeping, suffering, and death. That's nice, huh? So choose God instead of the ego. Choose grace instead of judgment of self and others. Practice, 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 as we always say. The more you practice, the more natural and normal it's going to be for you to choose heaven over hell, aka God's will over the ego's lies and programming. Paragraph 6, sentence 1. Forget the ego's arguments, which seek to prove all this is really heaven. You know it is not so. Okay, so the ego constantly is telling you that the way that you're thinking when you're judging others or self or angry or sinful, that you have every right to do that. The ego says you have every right to judge your brother or sister for what he or she did. But what the ego's not telling you is that if you do, you never get led to peace of mind or joy. Okay? So the ego is going to tell you the first part of its lie and hide the second part. Your judgments, your anger, your resentment, your anxiousness, your fear, your doubt, your shame, your guilt, they never will ever deliver to you true lasting peace of mind, true lasting joy. Nothing the ego delivers to you will deliver to you the state of mind and life you want. Nothing. No matter how right the ego says you are to judge your brother or sister, to condemn them, to be resentful. Okay. Paragraph 6, sentence 5. Suffering is not happiness, and happiness is what you really want. So what you truly want, no matter, again, what do I want? Well, what do I really want? The ego says you want to judge your brother or sister, you want to be right, you want them to condemn them because you have every right to, but that's not what you really want. What you really want is that peace and that joy. And that's what you're here for. And here we go. Next sentence. Such is your will and truth, and soul salvation is your will as well. So what's salvation according to the Course in Miracles? It's a departure from the ego's thought system to an alignment with the mind of God. An alignment with the light of the world, which is your true light. What is salvation? Responding with love instead of fear. What is salvation? Going from fear to love. That's also called a miracle. Okay, salvation is your will as well. Okay, so your true will, what you really want is salvation. What you really want is to offer an expression of love, whatever that may be, in every interaction, situation, and moment. You always really want to be supporting love, loving thoughts. That's what you really want, no matter what the ego tells you that you want. Comments or questions on paragraph 5 and 6? If not, would somebody like to read 7 and 8? Mike, you want to read 7 and 8? Since you might
Sure,
be.
sure. We will succeed today if you remember that you want salvation for yourself. You want to accept God's plan because you share in it. You have no will that can really oppose it, and you do not want to do so. Salvation is for you. Above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. Today is the ego. Today it is the ego that stands powerless before your will. Your will is free, and nothing can prevail against it. Therefore, we undertake the exercises for today in happy confidence, certain that we will find what it is your will to find, and remember that it is your will to remember. No idle wishes can detain us, nor deceive us with an illusion of strength. Today, let your will be done, and end forever the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven that you choose.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on paragraph 7 and 8? Paragraph 7, sentence 1, we will succeed today. Okay, so you will succeed. Trust that you will. If you remember that you want salvation for yourself. Okay, we're all one, right? So whatever it is that you want for others is something that you want for yourself. What you want for yourself, you want for others, because we're all one. And so you want to see your brothers with forgiveness so that you can have peace. You want to see your brothers with compassion. You want to give them compassion because you want peace. Okay. And so all you have to remember is that you want salvation in each moment. Every interaction, I want salvation. Each moment, I want salvation. Before every situation, I want salvation. What does that mean? I want to be a reflection of love and light in the world. I want to offer love and light in this moment. I want to offer love and light in this situation. I want to offer love and light in this interaction, which means offerings of that salvation, a path to salvation. Paragraph 7, sentence 2. You want to accept God's plan because you share in it. Okay, we talked about this again. There's two wills. One is real, one is not. The will of God. Okay. You want to accept God's plan. Okay. God's plan for your life is your highest plan for your own life. So it's not like you're giving away your power to God, so to speak. It's not like God is deciding for you. You have decided with God on his plan. And so his plan is what you really want because you share in it. Okay. So you share God's plan for your life. God is perfect love, right? So whatever is happening in your life has to be in some way, shape, or form something that you will use for good. What the ego uses to hurt, the Holy Spirit uses to heal. Okay? So whatever challenge you're going through, God is going to use it to in some way, shape, or form help you grow, heal, and awaken. And in doing so, give you that life experience, those tools in your spiritual tool belt that you can then use to help others recall their own light, their own desire for salvation. Paragraph 7, sentence 3. You have no will that can really oppose it. Okay, so there's God's will, the ego's will. This is truth, this is a lie. This is all, this is nothing. Okay? So it appears in this duality that we have two wills. We can either follow God's will for us or the ego's. But in reality, there's only God's will. This other thing is the dream. There's a dream we've been programmed to believe it's not a dream. So, paragraph 7, sentence 5. Above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. Okay, you have free will, and you always want to remember who you really are, because that's the path to peace, and that's the path to joy. If you recall in the moment, in the situation, in the interaction, who you really are and what you're really here for. If you remember that, then you will have what you truly desire. Any comments or questions on paragraph 7 and 8? Paragraph 7, sentence 6. Today, it is the ego that stands powerless before your will. Your will, again, your highest will and God's will are one. So once you unite with God's will, which is your highest will, once you give this your power, God your power, and you say, God, lead the way. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. When you in any situation, interaction, or moment, or when you're by yourself, you say, God, let me think only your thoughts. I'm going to use this moment that I'm by myself to think only the thoughts that you would think, only the thoughts that the Holy Spirit would think. And I'm not going to entertain anything else. Okay? Don't entertain the lies. You have free will. You can choose to entertain the truth and thus make the truth a bigger part of your life, which means you become a brighter and brighter light, which means you achieve more peace of mind and joy, true lasting peace of mind and joy. Or you can entertain the ego's delusions and go on the nice chaotic ride there. See what else? Paragraph 7, sentence 7. Your will is free and nothing can prevail against it. Thank you. Okay, so your will is free. You have free will to choose peace or pain in any moment. You know what you're supposed to be choosing. And you know what you're supposed to be forgiving when you think about that. If you're focused on the ego's pain, on all its tools, forgive your misperception. Okay? Invite the Holy Spirit to take back control of your thoughts. Align your thoughts with the expression of love that would best fit the moment. And then be that love. You do that over and over again until it becomes natural and normal to only choose with God. And it will become natural and normal to only choose with God, but you have to practice. You have to deprogram yourself. You have to see that programming that the ego tries to sell you, you do not want. So why entertain something you do not want? Comments or questions on paragraph 7 and 8?
Yeah, if you look at paragraph 7, line 5, above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. That's the whole thing, is recognizing that, whatever happens out there, our brothers can make mistakes. They can actually purposely be hurtful because they're in pain and they want to hurt somebody else and stuff like that. But none of that can change our reality, who we really are. Like line 5 says, above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. Regardless of how many wars there are out there, regardless of what somebody says to you or sends you a nasty email or whatever, cannot change who I am.
Yes. God is going to use all for good. And so allow the story to be the story. God will use the story to help others grow, heal, and awaken. And so all you have to do is remember that, place that in God's hands, okay? And by doing so, you'll experience peace. Place the world in God's hands and you will experience peace. Trust God fully and you will experience true peace. Trust God partially and you will experience partial peace. It's not too hard. It's your choice. Partial trust in God leads to partial peace. Full trust in God leads to full peace. Choose not to trust God. Choose to trust the ego and its programming, and you will experience the conflict and chaos that only the ego can deliver. Paragraph 8, sentence, last part of sentence 1. It is your will to remember. Okay, so it is your will to recall your true function as the light of the world. My true function is to be the light of the world. That's what you want to remember. No idle wishes can detain us. None of the ego stories can detain your path to peace or to your path to joy. Nor deceive us with an illusion of strength. Whatever your beliefs are separating you from peace, they're an illusion. They have an illusion of strength. Stop supporting the illusion as real. And the time, focus, and energy that you dedicate to the illusion, that you will find its strength begin to dissolve away into the nothingness that it is. Paragraph 8, sentence 3. Today, let your will be done. When you say an end forever, the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven that you choose. Today, let our will be done. Okay? One thing you could say is, God, let your will be done. That's saying the same thing as, God, allow my highest will to be done. Okay? Your highest will and God's will are one. Let your will be done. Your true will be done. And start to see, good night, Mike. And start to see that indeed, in any moment, you can choose heaven or hell. Okay? Heaven or hell is your choice. Any comments or questions on paragraph 7 and 8? If not, would somebody like to read 9 and 10? 9 and 10 going once.
I'll read it if you need a reader.
Thank you.
Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so start with after reminding yourself, or start with then let your will?
We will begin.
Oh, I'm lost. Okay, wait, I see it. We will begin our longer practice periods with the recognition that God's plan for salvation, and only His, is wholly in accord with your will. It is not the purpose of an alien power thrust upon you unwillingly. It is the one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. You will succeed today, the time appointed for the release of the Son of God from hell and from all idle wishes. His will is now restored to his awareness. He is willing this very day to look upon the light in him and be saved. After reminding yourself of this and determining to keep your will clearly in mind, tell yourself with gentle firmness and quiet certainty, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. Keep going.
Yes.
Then let your will assert itself, joined with the power of God and united with yourself. Put the rest of the practice period under their guidance. Join with them as they lead the way.
Thank you. All right, comments or questions on paragraph 9 and 10? Paragraph 9, sentence 1. We will begin the longer practice periods with the recognition that God's plan for salvation, aka your highest plan for salvation, and only His, is wholly in accord with your will. So what you really want is God's plan for salvation. Okay? So whatever is occurring is God's plan for salvation. And it's something that you yourself have in some way, shape, or form asked for, so that you can develop the tools that will help the world heal. Paragraph 9, sentence 3. It is the one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. Okay, so you and your Father have the same will, believe it or not. Paragraph 9, sentence 4. You will succeed today. Again, it says that you will succeed today. The time appointed for the release of God's Son from hell, aka the ego's mindset, and all of these idle wishes. Okay, so just be certain that you will succeed in doing what you came here to do today, which is to remember that I will there be light. I will that my mind is aligned with the mind of God. That's how you create that light. Making sure that your mind is aligned with the mind of God, making sure that your mind is aligned with love and love's expressions. All right. Paragraph 10, sentence 2. I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. Okay, so practice asking the Holy Spirit, help me see this differently through love's lens. I will there be light. Okay. If you're not able to see the light, ask the Holy Spirit to help you see the light. Ask the Holy Spirit, how will you, I know that you view the world through love's lens. Allow me to view the world as you view the world. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. So whenever you find yourself stuck in using the ego's tools, emotions, and energies, your first response should be, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Help me see the situation only through love's lens. What would God have me think, say, and do right now about this situation? And then do only what God would do. Just do what God would do. Which is to view this world through love and then be a reflection of that love in whatever ways the moment or situation seems to be requesting. Paragraph 10, sentence 4. Then let your will assert itself. Join with the power of God and unite it with yourself. Put the rest of the practice periods under their guidance. Okay? So keep on practicing asking God, what would you have me think, say, and do? And then think, say, and do only that. Be led by God. Be led by their guidance. If you have a little doubt or anxiousness or fear, cool. Just stop, step back, invite God in, the Holy Spirit in, and ask the Holy Spirit what to think, say, and do, and then think, say, and do only that. Over and over and over again. Okay? Until the ego's responses begin to diminish and the Holy Spirit's responses begin to rule your day. Any comments or questions in paragraph 9 and 10? All right, I'll go ahead and finish up with paragraph 11. This is the last paragraph of the lesson, which is lesson 703. I will there be light. Paragraph 11. In the shorter practice periods, make a declaration of what you really want. I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This should be repeated several times an hour. It is most important, however, to apply today's idea in this form immediately when you are tempted to hold a grievance of any kind. This will help you let your grievances go instead of cherishing them, aka entertaining them, and hiding them in darkness. Okay? Paragraph 11, sentence 3. I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. So practice consciously choosing light and light's tools over darkness and darkness tools. Okay? Darkness is not my will. Anger is not my will. The reflections of darkness. judgment, anger, resentment, hate, jealousy, guilt, shame, anxiousness, fear, doubt. All those are reflections of darkness. None of them are your will. You have free will. Choose light over darkness, and you'll be choosing peace over pain. Are you worthy of peace? Then choose the thoughts, the energies, and emotions that would lead you to peace. Paragraph 11, sentence 6. It is the most important, however, to apply today's idea in the form immediately that you're tempted to hold agreement. Okay, so this is the response. It's called the response to temptation. What's temptation? Anytime the ego tries to take control of your mind. That's temptation. And what do you do when the ego does that? You say to yourself, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. So that's your immediate response to temptation. That's your immediate response to any of the ego's tools. Is to remind yourself that you're there to be light, not darkness. Paragraph 11, sentence 7. This will help you let your grievances go instead of cherishing them and hiding them in darkness. Okay, so the more immediately you can correct your thinking, the more you will diminish the ego's power over your thoughts, your mind, and life. Okay, so practice recognizing over and over again when the ego's in control of my thinking. Recognize it, stop it, remind yourself that your will and God's will is for you to be light, and then be only light. Forgive your misperception, forgive all others, and be the light of the world that God created you to be. That's the response to temptation.
So it's like instant forgiveness. I will there be light.
Yes. Immediately, as quickly as you can. Let go of that judgment. Because what you truly want is to be happy, is to be at peace. And the only way to that peace, mind, and joy is through forgiveness. It's by letting go of your judgments of others. Okay. It's by trusting in God's plan for their life and God's plan for your life. And here I made a couple points here. You share God's will. Judgment, holding grievances blocks God's will from you. God's will is within you, not outside of you. Forgiveness releases grievances. Happiness is your will. Salvation is your will. God's plan is your will. Freedom to remember who you really are is your will. Will there be light? Will there be light? That is God's will for you, to be the light. You cannot fail. When grievances come, stop them, forgive them, choose in alignment with light, and be who God created you to be, which is the light of the world in every moment, in every situation, in every interaction. That's your function. Practice fulfilling your function, and you will feel fulfilled. Practice being who God created you to be, and you will feel fulfilled and joyful and at peace. Any final comments or questions on lesson 73, I Will There Be Light?
I think just a technical question in terms of the longer practices versus the shorter practices. Like, is there a formula? I don't know. I haven't been so great about these lessons, practicing them, so I was just curious.
Well, the shorter practices are just practicing catching your
Right.
mind when it's out of alignment with love.
I got that. And
Okay? The longer practice periods is when you have a little time to reflect and think about what happened throughout your day and how you can shift your mind to see it in a way that it's been to use it in a way that God would.
So for as long as you possibly can, I suppose.
Yeah, when you're thinking about X or Y thing that happened during the day and you have a little time to think about it, and then you correct it within your mind. You forgive your misperception of it. You understand that God is also going to use this for good, and you forgive others, and you find peace.
Okay.
Yes. And that is usually called, especially in the shorter practice periods, the response to temptation. Any final comments or questions before we close? If not, folks, this was lesson 73, 7-3, I will there be light. And as it's said a couple times here, you will succeed. So be assured of that. Success is assured.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Mike, Luna, Holy Spirit of Jesus.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
James.
you all take care. The lesson will be up tomorrow at 5 p.m. with show notes on the bottom if you would like to check it out.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. You all take care.